let me take you through a story that we've been mulling over, conducting for a few days now. Finally, I did have this opportunity to tell Indians, if you're dreaming of working in the US, UK, parts of Europe, then be sure the honeymoon period for Indian graduates is over. In fact, Rajesh Sawhney isn't really mincing words here. The GSF Accelerator founder and alumna of Harvard and London School of Economics fellow has dropped quite a bombshell, a reality check rather, for Indian parents pouring crores of rupees into foreign degrees. In a post he put out on the X platform, he says, and I quote, "There are no jobs in USA, in Canada and UK for international students. Honeymoon period is over. Parents should think twice before spending crores on expensive education outside, particularly these countries." Now, that one statement was enough to ignite this whole debate that's been simmering for quite a while, but it seems like now it's out in the open, acknowledged, spoken about without any hesitation. Thousands of Indians now struggling to find jobs in these countries. Their future is uncertain despite having a degree in hand. There's tougher visa rules now, post-study work restrictions immensely due to immigration crackdown, etc. in these countries. There seems to be a real freeze in hiring across sectors. Largely, of course, we are concerned for Indians, but we understand this is a direction for immigrants on the whole. And we know the number of Indians who go to these countries to study. Despite degrees in their hand, they're not finding jobs. In the UK, it appears, changes to dependent visas and limited post-study options is the primary reason. In the United States, steep competition and limited H-1B slots is the reason there. In Canada, inflation and a cap on student intakes, the reason there. Now, how has this changed so quickly in the last few years? For those still dreaming of foreign degrees, what's the real reality check and what one should know? To give us a little more context on this, if this is really the most favorable option for Indians largely, Ambassador Ashok Sajanhar, former Indian diplomat, joining me here. Also Manish Chand, CEO, Center for Global India Insights. Thanks very much. Ambassador, your take on this first, Ashok Sajanhar, on the Indian dream, wanting to make it big in the US or UK or Canada. It's the go-to destination for many, I would say, lakhs of Indians for many years. What's changed now?
Yeah, thank you very much, Nabila. I think what has changed not only in the United States, but also as far as UK, Canada, Australia, many of the other places where Indians throng in large numbers for their studies and hoping that they'll be able to get, the residence, permanent residence and work permit, etc., etc. I think it is becoming more challenging. That one has to recognize. And even without this report that you have quoted, I think it was the writing was very much on the wall, because these economies are not doing too well. These economies are, because of all these changes that have been taking place. It was the COVID, it was the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Israel-Hamas conflict. So, inflation has been going up, the productivity has been coming down, and so the economies are not doing too well. And particularly now with Mr. Trump in the saddle and his putting all, letting loose this tariff, threat across the world, there is a lot of uncertainty. And what does uncertainty mean for business? It means that you will not invest, because I want that there should be some stability, there should be some predictability in what, what the future looks like. So there is this uncertainty, and that is why no investments, no production, no jobs, etc. So this is definitely something there. If anyone expects that with just a mere degree, you'll be able to get, a job, I think that is difficult. The last point I'll make here, Nabila, is that technology is changing. So, there is new technology that is coming into the market. So our students will have to be ready to master some of these technologies. And I think this challenge is not only for Indian students, it is for students from across the world in these countries, because jobs are less, so the opportunities will be less.
Correct. A quick word from Manish on whether parents are really making the right decision in spending crores of rupees for fancy education abroad. What would be your advice? Is it really worth foreign degrees worth an investment in 2025?
Yeah, so this massive, what we see, kind of crackdown on immigration, on international students. Uh, Basically, the all these countries are no longer hospitable for Indians and all the students who want to go abroad. As Rajesh Sawhney rightly said, the honeymoon period is over. And but it's also, if you look at the positive side of it, that we also need to rethink that why we are sending our children abroad, spending an obscene amount of money, if you come to think of it, instead of renovating and refurbishing our own education system. What drives people to go to these countries for better opportunities, better salaries, or whatever else, and the dream of a beautiful life, uh, now all that is coming apart. So now I think we have to calculate the cost and returns differently. That if we send it, first of all, there is a major thing, uncertainty. If you spend crores and you manage to sneak your way past all these rules and all that, and then you are not sure that your green card is going to come, and one fine day there's a midnight knock and you're asked to leave. So, all that comes unstuck. I think it's also, if you look at the underlying reasons, that the structural system, the structure has shifted. This whole reaction against international students is quite irrational, because international students have been critical to the success of these economies, their competitiveness. They bring so many jobs to these countries. But then, as the Sajana was pointing out, the job pie itself is shrinking. So there is more competition, whether you are going to give job to your own guys, your own people, or you let somebody from India or Sri Lanka or Africa to get that job. So this whole xenophobic tendency is, to my mind, it looks like it is going to stay, because there is a larger economic decline, and there is also the larger shift of power from the West to the rest, which the West is not quite comfortable with. But the recipe they have chosen to address this is self-defeating and self-destructive. It is not going to bring a lot of benefit. This very flawed decision.
No,
So obviously, for Indian parents or parents who are planning to send, they need to rethink. I think we need to send. We have some excellent institutions, and there are more jobs now in India also.
no,
I
but
mean, there
is
are.
there that's what I mean. My question was: is there a plus or a benefit as such, in your view, in actually studying abroad, even if you don't get a job, the kind of education that you'd get internationally, the syllabus that there is, the real thinking minds there? Do you believe that Indians would benefit still getting a degree abroad, to get a better opportunity here home in India as well, to have a master's degree from a foreign country is more valuable? Would you still say that?
Yeah, I think so. If you look at it objectively, these universities are top class universities with excellent, robust, R&D infrastructure, libraries, campus. It's an experience in itself. It's in a globalizing environment, in a global environment. This is an unmissable experience. So, I mean, if you can afford it and if you can take a chance, you should not link it up with job alone. You can always come back. India is ready to take you back, and there are a lot of opportunities here as well. So I think, yes, as an educational destination, I think those countries will still have their own lure and attractions, which is not going to diminish with all that. But of course, the practical constraints may deter now students, international students, to go in that number as they used to do earlier.
All right. So, well, we know that a country, of course, at this point is balancing its needs with ensuring their own people get a job first, and trying to still woo foreign students to come by and study in their countries, because it's also money for them at the end of it. Ashok Sajanhar, sir, your take on how countries coming together to actually have exchange programs, what does it do on the diplomatic level, and how can India change this around? I mean, of course, we would like our students to be very much within India itself, but it's not bad at all for Indians to really make it big in these countries. We've seen their growth trajectory in the last few decades. Indians are really in the topmost positions in most of the companies in UK or in the US. So how can we get this wheel running without a stop?
Yeah, you know, of course, there are challenges and there are opportunities. Let me sort of mention just a couple of points. Number one, you know, in countries like Australia and the United States, not necessarily so much in Canada or the UK, you know, there used to be a whole lot of scholarships that used to be available, even at the undergraduate level, even at the Ivy League universities. So, you know, children who are bright, who are hardworking, etc., you know, they could get these scholarships and they could go there. And, you know, so the parents did not really have to shell out all that much of money, because, you know, universities like Harvard, Yale, Stanford, all of them, they have very good alumni support, you know, funding support from them. Second point is that, you know, why many of these countries we've seen, heard in recent years, Australia, UK, Canada, why they have put a cap as far as foreign students are concerned is because when foreign students come, there is much greater demand on housing, on healthcare, and that gives rise to inflation. And they want to protect their own people against inflation, so they have been sort of, you know, putting a
We
cap
hear
on
they've
this.
even cut down on salaries.
Yeah, salaries also, because again, the economies are not doing too well. The third part, I think the critical part is that India has started welcoming foreign universities. You know, when Prime Minister Albanese was here, we saw that the first, what is the Dixon University, Australian University, coming to Gift City in Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
So there are many such universities, joint ventures, etc. Rather than spending all that much money, you know, Manish was talking very rightly about faculty and others, you know, the experience in the other countries that you have. So if you are able to recreate the same environment, the same ambience in India, have the
Yeah.
same professors at much lower cost, I think it will definitely do a great deal of good. And the last point is, I think we need to recognize that the center of gravity of the global economy is shifting from the transatlantic to the Indo-Pacific. And India today is the fourth largest economy. So, you know, there are many and fastest growing major economy. So there are many more jobs that are going to be created in India in the in future. You know, we are supposed to be adding $1.5 trillion of to our economy, one
Correct.
trillion dollar in 1.5 years. So, you know, there's going to be more productivity, more production, more investment. At least that is the hope, and I think people should be able to get training here, skills here, and also jobs here.
Lovely. Thank you very much. I really appreciate Manish and Sir Ashok Sajanhar joining me on this.